My name is Julian, and I'm 31 years old. On the surface, it seems like I have it all: money, a fulfilling job, an amazing boyfriend, and the unwavering support of my father, Pedro. People often comment on how lucky I am, surrounded by luxury and comfort. However, there are moments when the facade of perfection begins to crack, revealing the imperfections beneath. One particular day stands out vividly in my memory. My father, Pedro, returned from his extended trip unexpectedly. He was never one to come back without letting me know beforehand, but for some strange reason, the old man decided he wanted to surprise me. My boyfriend, John, had driven me back to the estate to get some of my stuff after I had spent a week at his apartment. My dad surprised me when he popped out of nowhere, startling me. Even John looked stunned. But everything went from good to bad when a girl named Sophia walked through our front door. I was immediately disgusted by her as my eyes combed through her outfit. My critical eyes couldn't help but dissect every detail of her appearance, and the conclusion was far from favorable. Sophia was putting in a serious effort to look like she just stepped out of a designer catalog, and the authenticity radar in my brain went haywire. She was putting on fake designers that were visible even from a mile away. It was as if she deliberately wanted to look expensive. Disgust might be a strong word, but my fashion-savvy side was cringing. I found myself pondering not just about her questionable taste, but also about where on earth my father had discovered this gem, and why in the world he would think she was the one to tie the knot with his dear son. When I thought the day couldn't get any worse, Lisa joined in, claiming she was Sophia's sister. I'm no stranger to drama, but this was a whole new level of audacity. The two of them, Sophia and Lisa, weren't even trying to be subtle. The air was thick with their shared agenda, and it didn't take a detective to sense that they were cooking up something that involved a fair bit of gold and a whole lot of digging. Irritation bubbled up within me. I glanced at John, and he had the same look on his face as he did months ago when he found out that this same Lisa was a liar and had cheated on him. I knew Lisa from my bad boy days when I was a die-hard partygoer who got wasted on alcohol and weed. Lisa was crazy. She was the kind of girl who would sleep with a snake for some extra cash, and when she found out that I was the heir to Pedro's estate, she got even crazier. The truth hung at the tip of my tongue. I should have told my dad right then and there that John was not just a friend, but my boyfriend. Yet, as I looked at my father, a sense of nostalgia and rare joy painted his face. It had been so long since I'd seen him genuinely happy, and I couldn't bring myself to shatter that moment. So, I said nothing. I played the role of the understanding son, the one who could handle surprises with grace. I convinced myself that I would find the right time to speak to my dad privately and to tell him about John, but I realized one thing later on. There is never a perfect time for these conversations. Life did not wait for the right moment. You had to take the time and make it right. What just happened there? John asked me as soon as Dad and the ladies were out of earshot. I let out a sigh, my shoulders slumping with the weight of the bizarre encounter. Your guess is as good as mine, I replied, running a hand through my hair. You know that's not what I'm talking about. You were supposed to tell Pedro that I'm your boyfriend, not just your driver, and Lisa and her fake sister are trying to make a run for his money. What the heck, Julian? John's frustration was palpable, his eyes searching mine for an explanation. I winced, realizing I had missed a crucial opportunity to set the record straight. I know, John. It all happened so fast, and my dad was dropping bombshells left and right. I should have said something but got caught up in the madness. I'll figure out a way to clear things up, I promise. John's expression softened, understanding mingling with his frustration. Before he could utter another word, I pressed my lips against his, and my hands reached for his zipper. I'm not in the mood, babe. I need to talk to Lisa. The fact that she's here is scaring the shit out of me, John said, gently pulling away. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, dealing with Lisa and Sophia is a priority, I replied, my mind slowly shifting from the immediate physical distraction to the issues at hand. I just want to make sure we handle this situation carefully. Something doesn't feel right, and I don't want any surprises popping up later, John said, his brow furrowing in concern. I'll send you some cool photos for your eyes only later, okay? I couldn't help but chuckle. Sure thing, babe, I said, and I will go talk to my dad right now. Julian gave me a light kiss on my forehead, and I smacked his ass as he walked away. Imagine my shock when I found Sophia in my dad's room, and they were going through a site on what our babies would look like. Julian, come and look at this, Dad called me. Dad, can we talk? I asked. Sophia got the memo and got up. I want to tell you that it's been such a pleasure meeting you and your son Pedro. You're amazing, Sophia said, offering a parting compliment as she made her exit. I rolled my eyes at her speech. She was trying to get in my father's good book, and my dad loved flattery. As soon as she walked out, my dad gave a hearty laugh. She's perfect, Julian. You guys will make a great couple, he exclaimed. Dad, you have said that like 1,000,000 times. Look, I understand you want me to settle down and get married and have grandkids, but, I paused, trying to choose my words carefully, forcing someone into my life is not the way to make that happen. I need to make these decisions for myself. My dad's expression shifted. I just want what's best for you, Julian. Sophia seems like a wonderful woman, and she clearly admires you. Give it a chance. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. Dad, love doesn't work that way. It can't be forced or arranged. I need to find someone I connect with on a deeper level, someone who understands me, not just someone you think fits the mold. He nodded, a solemn look on his face, and then, after a few seconds, he lit up. Oh my goodness, son. Do you have a girlfriend? Is that why you're saying all this? Dad, no, I don't have a girlfriend. I actually have a boyfriend, I stuttered. My dad laughed like I was a clown. I was expecting this. I knew he wasn't going to believe me so easily, especially since he knew my dating history with women. Look, I'm serious, Dad, I said. You and your games, Julian. I know you probably don't like Sophia now, but I know a nice girl when I see one, and you don't have to pretend to be gay, son, Dad said. I'm not getting any younger, Julian. I took a seat beside my dad, hoping to convince him some more, but the expression on his face became serious. It seems you're hell-bent on ending my legacy. Consider the family's future, and remember the responsibility you bear to carry our name forward. Settle down, start a family, and secure the legacy you've inherited, or else. The weight of his words hung in the air. Or else? I asked, my voice edged with disbelief. His expression remained stern. Julian, I don't mind giving it all up for charity. Dad, you can't be serious. I'm your son. Then act like it, my dad shot back. I shook my head and walked out in anger, slamming the door behind me. The days after that were sickening. I called Lisa after what my dad said and told her to stay away from me and my family, but she laughed, saying that she had only just started. Sophia and Lisa had become frequent guests at the estate, as Dad had told them his doors were open to them whenever. John was disappointed when I told him that my dad didn't believe me, and then the issue of the legacy and family name just made everything worse. So he didn't believe you? John asked me. I'm like the boy that cried wolf, John. He thinks I only said I had a boyfriend because I don't want to get married to Sophia, I explained. Okay, do you think I could talk to him? John offered. I took a deep breath, reaching to hold his hand. I'm sure he would think I put you up to it, I said. Oh, I see. So now I'm just your driver, right? John asked. Don't say that. You're more than that, I replied, cupping his cheeks. Then tell that to your dad and make him believe you. Lisa is crazy, and I don't know what she's planning, but it can't be good, John insisted. John took my hand in his. I love you, Julian, and I'm sure you do too. But you do this for us, John said, planting a small kiss on my lips. Yeah, sure, I replied, unsure of what to do. I got out of the car and waved to John as he drove out, but then I saw someone whom I hadn't expected to see. Lisa. What the heck? You two are dating, Lisa asked with a smirk. Yeah, and so? I asked, brushing past her. I didn't owe her any explanation. Does Pedro know his son is gay? She chuckled. I wonder what your kids would look like. Who's the top? You, right? John is such a baby, but I'm really surprised, you know, Lisa continued, punctuating every sentence with an annoying laugh. Just mind your business, okay? I warned her. And yes, I've told him, but he doesn't believe me. She stood in front of me, blocking my path. That must suck, Lisa said, attempting to comfort me. I ignored her. Piss off. Aw, but you're my business, darling, she said teasingly, placing her hand on my chest. You've always been my business, and although it sucks that you have to be with my sister, there's love in sharing, right? And who knows, maybe you can include me sometime. I heard your legacy is on the line here. You know we can strike a deal, love, she said with a wink. Gosh, Lisa, can you stop? I said, walking away. Lisa continued to follow me inside, and I found Sophia and Dad in the dining room having lunch. Dad, I have to tell you something, and you have to believe me, I announced. Yes, go on, son, Dad said, looking up at me. And I hope it's not about all that talk of you being gay. I stared at my dad in disbelief. Gay? Julian? Not with all the dates that we've gone on, Sophia lied, breaking the awkward silence. Dad smiled so widely that I hoped his lips wouldn't tear. Is that so? He asked. You should see the two of them when they are together, Pedro, Lisa chimed in immediately, not giving me a chance to talk. Julian treats me so well, Sophia added. Don't you? She asked me with a small smile playing on her lips. And just like that, I played along, joining them to have lunch and pretending that Sophia and I had been on dates together. Lisa was the perfect storyteller, and I wanted to sink into myself. As the charade continued, the weight of the lie pressed heavily on me. I exchanged glances with John, who had somehow appeared in the doorway, his eyes filled with concern. John! My dad called out. Please join us. Isn't it wonderful? Julian and Sophia are getting along so well. Did you know? Oh, wow, John replied. He seemed as uncomfortable with the situation as I was. I have to go somewhere. Please be back soon. I think we should all go out, Pedro suggested. I was so nervous. I have work to do, Dad. Maybe some other time, I said, trying to deflect the attention. Dad frowned slightly, but then shrugged it off. All right, son, maybe another time. But you and Sophia should spend more time together. It's important for the future. I forced a smile, feeling the pressure intensify. John shot me a sympathetic look as he left. I knew what he was thinking. I was the biggest asshole ever. Oh my goodness, this jewelry is so pretty. I think it would look great on the black dress you got me, Julian, Sophia said loudly and showed me her phone screen. All I got was a flickering glance at a jewelry. It seemed to sparkle. I saw the look in my dad's eyes. He was impressed, and Sophia was a smart liar. Yeah, I lied. You can place an order. Dad left us after that as it was time for his favorite soap opera. Is this about money? I asked Lisa and Sophia, evidently frustrated. How much do you want? Lisa exchanged a sly glance with Sophia, and a smirk played on their lips. Oh, Julian, it's not just about money, Lisa replied, her tone laden with intrigue. We're thinking of something grand, something that benefits everyone involved. I narrowed my eyes, growing more suspicious by the moment. Cut the games, Lisa. What are you after? Sophia chimed in with a coy smile. We're talking about securing our future, Julian. Your future and ours. A little partnership, if you will. My heart sank at their revelation. The stakes had just reached a new level, and their insidious plan became clearer. What do you want? I asked, my voice strained. Lisa's grin widened, and she leaned in, her words a venomous whisper. We want you to marry Sophia. It's a simple choice, Julian. A lifetime of happiness and wealth, or the end of your privileged life. We can even let you cheat with that driver of yours. I stood up and walked out, unable to contain myself. I needed to break something or scream at someone, but I stopped myself. I took the strongest wine we had and took a huge swig of it from the bottle. I immediately ordered an Uber to John's apartment. I didn't know if he was home, but I needed him. I needed the comfort of his presence to anchor me in the chaos that now engulfed my life. The ride to John's place was a blur of conflicting emotions, anger, frustration, and the weight of the impossible choices I faced churned within me. When I arrived at John's apartment, I didn't bother with niceties. I barged in with the remnants of the wine bottle clutched in my hand. He looked up from his book, concern etching his features as he saw the storm in my eyes. John set his book aside and collected the bottle from me, placing it on the table. Without another word, he pulled me into a tight embrace, stroking my hair gently. Tears flowed down my eyes, wetting his shirt, but he didn't mind. "I'm sorry, babe," I cried. The two of us stood that way for a while, the quiet of the apartment serving as a refuge from the turmoil outside. "It's okay, babe. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere," John whispered, his voice a soothing balm. When we pulled away, I realized he was only in shorts. I eyed his torso, the alcohol dulling my inhibitions. "You should lie down," John said, but I had a better idea. I placed my hand on his chest and moved slowly down to his shorts, fumbling with the strings. This time, John didn't stop me. He pushed his lips into mine and kissed me like it was his last time, pulling away momentarily to catch his breath. The room got heated as we collapsed on the bed, taking off whatever clothing we had on. I didn't want it to end. I wanted to stay in John's arms all day and not have to worry about my dad or his expectations of me. But how could I? As our bodies intertwined, guilt crept in. The complexities of my life, the lies and deceit, overshadowed the intimate moment. What was I going to do? "I won't leave you," John said as he joined me in the shower. "I know you're worried about how I'm handling all of this, but I trust you. It's hard, but I trust you," John reassured. The thought made me smile, and I strongly believed everything would turn out fine. But it didn't. 3 months later, I was still pretending that Sophia was my darling girlfriend. John had to settle into his role as our driver, which was even worse. I wanted him to quit, but for some reason, he refused. The weight of the charade grew heavier with each passing day, and I could see the toll it took on John. John told me he tried to talk to Lisa, but she ignored him and blocked his number. Sophia moved into one of our penthouses, and she was treated like a literal goddess who wore real designers this time around. I was exhausted with how everything was playing out. One day, I came up with a plan. My dad had planned a special dinner for Sophia, me, and him. I told John all about my plan, and even though he had his doubts that it would work, I still intended to give it a shot. "Let's get this over with," I told John as I left him in the car. As we settled into the plush chairs in the restaurant, the anticipation in the air was palpable. Once we had placed our orders, I got straight to business, not wanting to spend another second acting as Sophia's boyfriend. "Dad, I have to tell you something important, and I'm serious. I'm seeing someone, and it's not Sophia," I found the courage to say, my heart racing. At that moment, my dad and Sophia fell into a stunned silence. "What? You two were doing so well, Sophia. What happened?" Dad asked, his brow furrowing in confusion. "I don't love her, Dad," I said confidently. At that moment, the waiters, dressed in impeccable uniforms, began to bring in the courses, unveiling them one by one with a flourish. As the plates were placed before us, Sophia's eyes widened in surprise. In one of the dishes, she found an elegant ring nestled among the delicacies. Her exclamation filled the air, momentarily diverting attention from the revelation at hand. "Oh my God, of course I'll marry you!" she screamed, taking out the ring and putting it on her finger. The waiters and people at the hotel began to clap, showering us with congratulations and praises for being a perfect couple. I was speechless. She pulled me into a hug and kissed me. "I love you so much, babe. You should have told me you wanted to surprise me," Sophia said with a smile. I had never seen that ring in my entire life. My dad couldn't have been happier. "My son is such a good actor," Dad said, beaming with pride. "Why do I feel like I'm in a soap opera? I love this!" I managed to force a smile, pretending everything was fine, but this was so messed up. I had underestimated Sophia and Lisa, and I didn't know what to do. What was I going to tell John? He was inside the car, waiting for me to tell him we could finally be together. How was I going to tell him that I was engaged? I couldn't even eat. I was so engulfed in my thoughts that the exquisite dishes in front of me turned into a tasteless blur. When Dad asked me if anything was wrong, I lied and told him that I was so excited about starting my life with Sophia. "Pedro, you called?" I heard John's voice. John looked at me with hopeful eyes, expecting good news, but I looked away. "Yes, John, I refuse to let you sit in that car. See, I know you said you were fine waiting for us in the car, but today is a special day. Julian and Sophia are getting married," Dad exclaimed with palpable excitement. I watched John's expression, and I wanted the ground to open and swallow me whole. Sophia eagerly flashed her ring. "Isn't it beautiful?" she asked him. "Congratulations, guys. I'm so happy for you, Julian. Your plan worked out so well," John said, his words laced with a forced cheerfulness that couldn't mask the underlying tension. "Please sit," Pedro offered, gesturing toward the empty seat. John moved robotically, sitting opposite me. He refused to meet my eye, and the heavy silence between us spoke volumes. It was clear that our relationship had reached its limit. As Dad and Sophia made plans for the wedding, John pretended like he was genuinely interested, offering to help in any way that he could. "Julian and I would like a simple court wedding. We really cannot wait to be married," Sophia said. "You two would make a beautiful couple," John said painfully. That night, I ordered an Uber to John's apartment, but the sight that greeted me was not one I had intended to see. There by the balcony was John hugging Lisa. I was furious. How was that even possible? I would never marry Sophia, but this was a game changer. John and I didn't talk after that. We didn't even talk the next day, which was unlike us. I knew he probably hated me because of the wedding engagement, but that wasn't enough reason for him to be with Lisa. 3 days later, I saw John at the estate. He dropped off some items for my dad and was about to drive off when I stopped him and entered the car. "Good afternoon, sir. Where would you like to go, sir?" he asked me. "John, stop. I just wanted to see you and talk about all this. I swear I didn't know anything about the ring. Sophia and her sister set me up," I said. "Can you just stop? Julian, I told you this was going to happen. I begged you to just tell Pedro about our relationship. You have no right to act like you're the victim here. You brought this upon yourself, and I no longer want to be a part of this, okay?" John spat angrily. "You're not the one whose inheritance is going to be taken away," I shot back, equally furious. "Oh, so you think I purposely kept my mouth shut? You're not the one who has to pretend to be in a relationship with a snake, John, and don't like you're all innocent. I saw you with Lisa." John's face lost all color. "It's not what you think, Julian. I was in a bad place and she was just..." John stuttered. I wiped a tear that threatened to fall. "Yeah, you two would be great together. I guess you lied when you said you'd never leave me," I said, abruptly stepping out of the car. "I'm done." My court wedding was in a week, and I felt so helpless and heartbroken. With John cheating on me, it was pointless. What was I even fighting for? As the day of the wedding loomed closer, I started thinking of ways I could sabotage the wedding, and then I came up with something I should have thought of a long time ago. I was going to expose Sophia and Lisa. A day before the wedding, I sent Sophia a message asking to see her so we could have a talk, and she was very excited to invite me to her penthouse. She was living the life there with lavish clothes and jewelry, all bought with a card my dad had given her. Lisa was there too, and I had to control my emotions around her. I mentally went over the things I was going to say and greeted them with a smile. "Hello, wife-to-be and sister-in-law-to-be. I got you a gift," I said, handing them a box. "Oh, you didn't have to, darling. We have plenty of cash now. We can get anything that we want," Sophia said, laughing. Lisa chimed in, echoing her amusement. Of course, I almost forgot. You're marrying me for my money, I said, a bitter undertone tainting my words. Relax, Julian. I'll give you really pretty kids in exchange, Sophia remarked with a smirk. And if you get tired of her, I'll be more than happy to fill her shoes, Lisa added, approaching me provocatively. She cupped my cheeks with a mocking tenderness. You're so cute, you know. Wonder why you had to be gay. Are you and John still a thing? No, I replied with a frown, struggling to maintain composure. Anyway, Sophia, I guess since we're going to be man and wife, I better be on your good side, so… Of course, we get it. You were such a tough nut to crack. I'm so glad your dad is way too gullible, Sophia interjected with a dismissive laugh. Anger bubbled within me, but I knew I had to maintain my composure. Once I left the penthouse, away from the false smiles and deceitful laughter, I retrieved the recorder I had hidden in my shirt earlier and pressed play. A triumphant smile spread across my face as I listened, knowing that every incriminating word had been captured. I couldn't wait for tomorrow to expose their lies and finally be done with this painful chapter. The day of the court wedding arrived, marked by a mix of anticipation and anxiety that hung in the air. As I got dressed, a message popped up on my phone. It was from John. Happy married life, Julian. I really didn't want to come to your wedding, but Pedro forced me to. Just ignore me. I'll be doing my best to ignore you, too. I'm sorry about how things played out for both of us, but no, I never cheated on you. Yes, Lisa was at my place, and I had to let her think she had the upper hand. I would never cheat on you because I love you. I wish things could be different, the text from John read. My heart ached. I wanted to tell him about my plans and how I was going to make everything right this time, but I decided against it. I would take him by surprise instead. I stood in the courthouse, flanked by my father and John. The weight of my decisions bore down on me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this day held the potential for both liberation and further entanglement. On the other side of the room, Sophia entered with Lisa, accompanied by an older man and woman who looked nothing like Sophia. The mismatched family dynamic raised my suspicions, but I kept my emotions in check, awaiting the opportune moment. The officiant, a stern-looking figure in black robes, began the ceremony. As the legalities unfolded, I stole glances at Sophia and her unexpected companions. The older couple seemed uneasy, their discomfort evident. As the ceremony neared its conclusion, I seized the moment. I stepped forward, addressing the officiant and the assembled guests. I'm sorry, but there's something that needs to be clarified before this goes any further, I declared, my voice cutting through the hushed atmosphere. All eyes turned towards me. I searched my pocket for the recorder. Lisa and Sophia are just trying to rob my family, and I have proof, I continued. I searched my pockets further, but the recorder was nowhere to be found. Panic set in when I couldn't find it. Lisa's mischievous glint revealed her successful attempt to take it. I had underestimated them once again. You're so funny, Sophia remarked, attempting to cover up the situation. Please continue. My heart broke, tears welling up in my eyes, and John struggled to compose himself. The officiant handed me a document and a pen, urging me to sign. My hands shook, and I was on the brink of confessing my love for John when John interrupted. Stop the wedding, please, John declared. Everyone looked at him, surprised. What's the matter, driver? Sophia dared to ask. Julian is right. These two women are con artists, and I have proof, John said. At that moment, he brought out a recorder and pressed play. I was shocked that John had thought of the same thing I did, and even more shocked that Lisa and Sophia didn't know. We all listened intently as he was engaged in a conversation with Lisa where she admitted her and Sophia's plans. Some men also walked in and confirmed that Lisa and Sophia were both con artists who had robbed them. It all happened so fast, and I was so proud of John, who stood there beaming with pride. Before I knew what was going on, 3 police officers came in, dragging Sophia and Lisa away. My father was surprised. He couldn't even say a word, and I knew he was so disappointed. Sophia and Lisa were shocked, pleading and begging, and eventually resorting to spitting insults. Lisa went ahead to reveal to my dad that I had been involved with John all this time. "Can we at least get our stuff? We moved a bunch of things from our old apartment to the penthouse," Sophia begged. "No," Dad eventually said. "I'm sure it'll be better at charity. You'll be in jail anyway. I don't think they'll be of use." As soon as Lisa and Sophia were taken away, my dad began to cry. I hugged him tight, trying to comfort him. "We better leave seeing as the event is over," Dad said, but I had a better idea. "I'm so sorry, Dad, that I can't be who you want me to be. I am gay, and I am proud of it. I know you can't believe it, and maybe you do, but you're hoping it's not true. But I am madly and hopelessly in love with John, and I don't care about your inheritance anymore. I just hope you can be proud of me someday," I said as John walked beside me. I held John's hand tightly. "You're really gay?" Dad asked me. "Yes, I am," I replied confidently. "And I'm not sorry about it, Dad." I half expected my dad to express pride in my choices, but he looked horrified. He didn't say another word and just left. "Are you okay, Julian?" John asked me. I shook my head and he pulled me into a warm hug. "We'll get through this together," he said. "I love you and I can't imagine my life without you in it," I said. "I love you too," he replied. I felt heartbroken that my dad couldn't accept my relationship with John, but I decided to fight for my happiness. It marked the start of a new chapter for John and me, and I had a good feeling about it. I left the estate after that and moved in with John. Adjusting was tough, but we managed. Meanwhile, Sophia and Lisa faced legal consequences and were sent to jail for identity theft, fraud and deception, and conspiracy. I picked up driving again, determined to overcome my fears. One day, as I came back home from grabbing groceries, I was shocked to see my dad deep in conversation with John. "Hey, Dad," I said, surprised. Dad gave me a hug, and with a look, I asked John what was going on. John had no clue either. "I'm sorry it took me this long, son, but I realized this is your life. I've lived mine. I fell in love with the most amazing woman and married her despite what my parents had to say. It's no wonder you're as hard-headed as I am. Look, I'm proud of you, son," Dad said. Tears welled up in my eyes. "Thanks, Dad. So, have you guys fixed a date for your wedding? My legacy has to be continued," Dad said after an unsettling silence. John and I chuckled at the thought, but it was clear Dad was serious. "Actually, I was going to propose later this week, but since the occasion calls for it," John said, pulling out a small box from the cabinet. He went down on one knee, and I couldn't contain my excitement. "Will you marry me?" John asked. I screamed yes and watched him slide the ring up my finger. Dad gave John a wink and suggested we go out to celebrate. I couldn't have been happier. Conclusion: John and I got married 2 months later, and I couldn't have been happier. My dad was beaming with pride as he watched us, and I was thankful that my father finally accepted my sexuality. John and I moved into a bigger house in a new city, and I took charge of my dad's company. 3 years later, we adopted our sweet baby girl, Pamela, and Dad has been visiting every weekend with a truck full of gifts. In a week, Pamela will have a baby brother, and I'm so thankful to my dad for forgetting his file and wallet in John's car. The end. Question: have you been in a situation where you struggled to keep your relationship due to expectations from your family? Share your experiences in the comments. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.